Hello everybody. Now I know it's been a while since my last upload. I'll talk about more of that just at the end of the video. But I figured I may as well make it just an all-around general beginner's guide because I know a lot of people in the comments have asked very simple questions. So I figured I'd just make a video that could help anyone who's new to the game just get started. So without further ado, I'll get right to it. Now one of the first and most important things is the Bey Builder, as I called it. I somehow forgot what it was called, but just generally your menu. Now, the first thing that is automatically up when you get here is the stats. This here shows you a general rundown. This is one of my random builds, Reverse Size Pegasus, that's Unicorn, I just renamed it. With 11 attack, 1 defense, 6 stamina. Of course, set attack type, 305 ounces. Height, speed, RPM, armor. Right here in this has a little description for each thing. Attack affects damage and knockback. Defense affects the damage and knockback you receive. Stamina just increases spin duration based on type matchup. The type is based on type matchups. Weight influences knockback speed and stability. Height influences stability and belt exposure. Speed influences max movement speed. Max RPM is a benchmark for spin duration. And armor is just something that some belts have that reduce damage when getting hit. Next up is your saved tops. This one's pretty simple. You just get, by default, 3 top slots, or 6 if you buy the Game Pass. How they work, you just gotta select it, build whatever top you want, and then you can just switch to another one and it auto-saves. You don't have to hit a save button or anything. This one's pretty simple category. Next up, the big one. Parts. This stuff matters the most. Now, I'll start with the shortest section. Crown. Right now, you can only obtain 4 if you're including the base X-Bolt. Good. The base one, you get automatically. Metal and gold, you get from picking up trash. Of course, you get metal from regular trash and gold from gold trash. I believe they drop at a 0.05% chance. Then the glowing hex bolt, you just have to get the starter pack for. Right now, as far as I know, the rest of these are currently unobtainable. They will be unlockable later on, but for now, you just have to deal with the other ones. Now, debatably the most important part, the body. Now, as you can see, I have all of them unlocked, but as is the case for all types of parts, you will unlock more over time. You'll start with the first 3 on each list, and then over time, you will be able to unlock more at a certain level, and then you can buy a random one with your money. Now, one thing I want to point out right now. With these, as tempting as it might be to just look at the stats, look at the stats and read the description. Both matter a ton to what you're building. Now, of course, you can see for this very simple Pegasus build I have here, I have Reverse Scythe, Low, and Rev Flat. Pretty simple attack-based build. This does extra smash attack damage. It's the same as Scythe, which I'll excuse this for a description, but it has large contact zones with high smash attack power. With Low, it's a little bit lower. Has more stamina than Super Low, though, hence why I'm using it. Though this isn't my main build. Then Rev Flat, which I will say Rev Flat is a bit of a meta attack bit. It is stupidly good. Its final burst it gives is pretty good. So overall, it's a pretty simple build. Now, as for stats when it comes to these, in terms of your main 3 stats, attack, defense, stamina, whatever the main stat you're focusing on the build, assuming you're not doing like a balanced build, I recommend you aim to get at least 9 in it. That's enough to make sure you're pretty potent in that skill. Then, of course, you can have however much split between the other 2. If you're doing balance, then, balance between whatever 2 stats you need. Of course, naturally you want to go for higher than 9, but I feel like 9 is like the bare minimum. Then, if you're making an attack or defense build, I suggest the secondary stat you focus on is stamina, as being able to last longer than one or the other would matter a lot. So just getting extra stamina when you can is pretty good. Then if you are going to focus on stamina and being a stamina type, I'd recommend focusing on defense. That way attack types don't absolutely obliterate you. Then, for some of the other special stuff, when it comes to tips, you may notice there's some that are rubber, and some that are metal, and some that are regular. Now, regular, just standard. They work fine. They do whatever. They work pretty alright. Rubber has higher friction, meaning they stick to the stadium more, but it does decrease stamina due to that. That's what all these are. There's a reason why there's so many variants here. Then, metal is just the reverse of rubber. It causes less friction, which increases, increases the amount of stamina you have, and increases speed due to less friction, but you will take much more recoil. The last at all, like, some of these are just kind of special one-off things. Like Eternal Pin and Bearing are free spinning, meaning they are a decent bit more stamina efficient. Can be really great if you just need to barely get that stamina finish, though they're mainly just designed for stamina and defense types. And the last, just one unique one, is Compressing Ball. Compressive absorbs critical hits. You lose an attack point for it, but it literally means if you get hit by a crit, you gain energy. Sounds really good. It can be, but it is kind of luck-based since crits are luck-based and all that. For belts are a great example where reading into them is very important. As like ones with gravity, it mentions that it has the heavy metal balls in it to help you keep spin going even more than just beyond what the stats do. And another reason, and this is where belts become particularly important, is mode shifts. I will show the mode changing menu later, but many different belts have the ability to change modes, like shift, as it's called here, which allows you to go in high mode for more knockback, but less stamina drain while guarding, or low mode, which gives you knockback reduction and higher speed. Allows you to change based on the situation. These can be good since they can allow you to adapt a lot easier than other things. Then, that should about sum up these, but once again, just read descriptions. They have minor things and just, yeah. Right. One more stat I would like to stress. Height. Height can matter a lot more than you think. When it comes to attack types, being able to hit your opponent in the belt can matter a ton. And if you're aiming for belt hits, that's where something like Swarm, which is another reason to read the bottom of these. It ignores armor, which mainly affects belt damage. So if you use a really low attack build with Swarm, you can do a lot more damage than some other types. Of course, you won't get as much knockback, so it's all about what you want to do. Also, one main thing to see is people ask for builds. I wouldn't recommend that. Mainly because the point of the game is to experiment. And I personally find it a lot more fun to figure out builds on my own. Doesn't mean you can't, but I'd personally suggest it. Next up is colors. The literally just fun thing. There's a bunch under Game Pass. These are just looks. They affect nothing. Just purely for customization. Primary affects the top. Secondary affects the center and sometimes some of the top part here, depending on what top piece you have. And tertiary affects the bit. Next up, spirits. Yeah, okay. So right now there's 18 of them. In Discord, the owner has said that he's planning to have around 50 when the game's finished. Of course, the game is far from completion. And overall, I definitely would recommend you try to at least get a few of these. Some of the uncommon ones can be pretty good if you need a better idea on how to use them. I have spirit guides for that. The main reason why you want them is these amount of them have passives, and of course the ability is useful, but passives can heavily improve how your bait works. We'll go more detail into them individually later. Then last option is just hide DUI, so you can just see the entire bay better if you want to get a good look at them. Now that you've got your bay designed, one of the important things is how to use it. So I'm going to be going through the keyboard controls. It'll be different if you're playing on console. So sorry, I haven't played this on console, so I don't know what the controls are on there. But for PC, you have to press E to show your top, and then you get two options. You can either put it away, or you can throw it. I'll be using this for an example. Now, when you click, you'll get this prompt. As you can see, I land in the center. It's not always going to spawn in the center, but okay. I will slow it down, but as you can see, if I completely miss, I only get 40%. Now, what I want to do is try to land it within the green, or best is gold. So you just can keep doing that to kind of sort of get the timing down. But another thing is, I don't know if we'll get a pop-up for it, but as you can see, right below that, I have a launch mastery, which you will get it just generally from hitting goods and perfects. So green or gold, gold gives way more, but basically what launch mastery does, it's very important. But it'll slow down the white bar when you do it. That way you have easier time hitting perfects. But also, it'll increase your RPM, which I mentioned in the stats, and since RPM increases how long your bay lasts, it's basically a free increase to your stamina. Everything you can do in battle, since there's no opponent really by default here. It'll still default to 1 though, which is attack, because my bay is an attack type. If your bay is an attack type, it'll default to attack. If it is, so it's just generally attack focused, it'll default to attack. If it's more stamina or defense focused, it will automatically go to guard, which is when it shows a shield. And this isn't a great stadium to show it, but they will go to the center and try to hold the center. With attack, they will purposely go after the other bay. Then, in certain situations, you may need to move your bay automatically by yourself to, like, avoid an attack or something. That, you just have to click where you want it to go. It will try. Once again, this is just a wood stadium I was using, for example. Let me just throw it out here. And now it will go wherever I click. Then a little niche thing, if you just want to kind of show off, if you throw your bay not into a stadium, you can hit F, and they'll just follow you. Pretty neat. So just watch out for other wild bays. They will be willing to just maul your precious Beyblade. Next up, on at least keyboard, you may have to check what the controls are for other things if you need to use that. N on keyboard allows you to see the part mode menu. Now, I don't have any currently changing things on my bay, so nothing's going to show up here. But if I go into here, and let's say I select shift like I mentioned, then I can switch these whenever I want. And some of them you can switch mid-battle, others you can't. I believe this is one of the ones you can switch mid-battle though. See, my bay is actively changing height as I hit each one, of course, to adapt to different situations. Simple. Now, to kind of talk about over here, the sort of leaderboard. We'll focus on my stats for example. So, the main stat you're probably going to worry about at first is level. It's also in the bottom here, and with this, you just gain XP from making contact with other bays, whether against an NPC or in an actual fight, or you can get XP from codes. Basically, it's pretty simple. You don't gain too much from it, besides just being able to unlock more parts. This will probably hold more significance later, and also if you want to just kind of show your skill, you can grind to a super high level. Now, next up, another more cosmetic thing. Rank. You increase rank by winning tournament battles. Specifically, tournament battles. You cannot increase in rank from fighting regular battles. It's pretty simple. You win them, you earn points, and that points over time will help you improve your ranking. Then, legendaries. This is something I'm going to very briefly talk about, as they are not very important to beginners, but they can help you kind of understand why you lose a fight sometimes if you're facing someone with one. These, when you get them, the first 3 a person gets will improve their stats by 1 each. So if someone has 3 legendaries like these other people, they will have a +3 stat boost overall. That's all I'm going to talk about those, since they're not very important to beginners. Now for important locations, because yes, those matters a decent amount. For finding mirrors, if you don't want to just look up a video for that, knowing some locations to help you get an idea where to look around. Now, of course, you had the spawn area. Usually people are spawned like right around here, somewhere in this little plaza or at the bus stop. Then right here is Town Hall. There's Legendary Blader, which relates to Legendary, so I'm not going to talk about that yet again. Also, as you can see, trash is littered around. As I said, this can be used for Hexpulse, but this is also the best way you're going to earn early money if you're not winning fights that often. What you can do is pick it up. You can get up to 10 by default. I'm only going to grab one for example. You have to find one of these dumpsters, dump it in there, and there's 11-minute cooldown. Now for locations. We have the sports center right here. There are 4 different NPC bladers and 2 open arenas for anyone to use. Right here in this little street area, so I'm actually using it to grind right now, but this little alley, you can fight this guy. He has a pretty solid defense type, so it's a pretty decent one to test your bays against. Then, this is not going to matter until you get a spirit, but the hospital. Once you get a spirit, over time, as you use that bay, eventually that spirit can become strained, which makes it so you can't use your abilities. You can check their condition over time here with the nurse. If they get strained, though, you're just going to be told right away. And then, it's a bit expensive, but $10 to treat your spirit will completely reset it. They'll be back to full health. You'll be good to go. Now, over here is the ice box. This, basically in place, you can find some trash here. No really trains here, but the reason why this one's unique is it has an ice stadium, which normally you only see in tournaments. So it's a great way if you want to test kind of against that bit of terrain. You can try it right here. And so ice generally benefits attack types since it allows you to gain more speed and does hit with more attack power. Next up is the Aura Shop. This is purely cosmetic, just so you know. And while these look cool, I would recommend just waiting until you have a lot of money, because these get expensive. The most expensive one, I believe, is that for $80. These simply just change how you look when using abilities. If you care about that, you can do it, or if you care about saving your money, you can. But at a certain point, when you reach my point where you just have a lot of money, yeah. So, the next one is this giant stone arena. It's pretty simple. I don't think it has any bonus effects necessarily. It's just really big, looks cool, has 3 pathways. It's just really neat. Now for locations in the forest. Now in here, you're going to see many stadiums that look like this. I'm guessing they're meant to be kind of like dirt stadiums. You just don't really move as much in these ones. Generally in battle, you'll be slowed a decent bit. It's a bit hard to win with attack types and such because you can't move as much. But yeah. Then the river. Got some standard stadiums here. Another NPC right over here you can fight with. They're pretty decent. They have a spirit too, so you can be a decent challenge. Then, you have 2 options for how to get around here. You can either go that way, or you can swim up the waterfall. Also, if you're wondering, yes, this is a secret compartment, though as far as I understand right now, this is completely useless. Nothing spawns there, so. There's another standard stadium up here. Then over here is Golden Grove, as it's called. Now, one key thing, if I can get some pictures of it, I'll put them on the screen, but over here and up there, occasionally certain items will spawn. They're not really items, but like a rock here and a crystal there. Basically, you can make your bay run into it by manually commanding it, which is done by clicking on the screen. Basically, you can make them run into that, and you're within the level requirements, you will gain a lot of XP from breaking them. Beyond that, the forest is pretty standard. There's nothing much else out here, but there is one last opponent over here. This fella who fights you in this little wooden stadium, which actually, unlike the dirt one, it's even worse. You really can't move once you lose too much energy. But also, this guy's bay is just really not strong, so you're probably gonna win most fights here. Hence why he's not entirely great for training or grinding, since you can't take him out quick. So I'd recommend just kind of avoiding this one. Now, another important thing there, well, I guess the detail part of spirits is the various moves you get. Now, one thing I should probably point out, they have passes by default. As you can see, listed in the description, tells you if there's a passive, gives you a general idea of what it's going to be good at, and if there's any particular buffs, it says that. Now, for these, sort of this, it has Unforgiving Rage, solid one, and pretty generic one. This one's pretty simple, just basically gives you a lot more speed and power, and it can't be cancelled. Now, the important things: passion and strain. Passion are these points you get from collisions in battles. When you have a move equipped, which I'll equip this one just for later show, but basically you'll build up those points, you can use them, it'll decrease that much from your other meters, but the meter on the bar you use, no matter how much, will immediately drain to the bottom, even if you had extra stocked up. So you have to build up all those points again. Now the other thing, strain. This is very important, and it's why, like, you can use an ult and still lose, like, right as the ult goes off, despite the fact that you should be doing the damage. Strain is how much it affects your base stamina. If something has very high strain, it has a very good chance of just draining the majority of your stamina, or, well, I wouldn't say majority. None of them do that much, but still, it can be very clear and potent, and it can drain a lot of your stamina from that. So it can definitely put you in a danger zone if you use a high strain move when you're low. Now I'll just have one equipped for the sake of example. I'm gonna have to do collisions, so I'll just use this fellow right here. They don't. So now I'm lined up. So right out there, we'll talk about launches in a minute, but as you can see, I just make impacts, and as I do, the meter increases. So now I'm gonna throw this twice. I was gonna speed through this one. Now, as you can see, it's about to be full. Basically, what I can do is down there, as you can see, it says 1. But if I toggle that, my aura appears, and I get that boost. Like that. Pretty simple, and since it had very light strain, you wouldn't really notice anything with my stamina there, and I easily knocked him out thanks to the boost. That's the basis of how moves work. It'll change a lot based on which move, so just read the description, and then also probably practice it against the NPC before you go in, throwing it out for the first time in a tournament, and hoping it turns out well. Now, tournaments. I'll verbally explain them if I get some footage of it. I'll also put it on the screen, but basically, tournaments, you can see the timer up to the top. I mentioned how you can choose to not partake in them, but every 8 minutes they will happen. You go in there, and just depending on the amount of people, it'll do a simple bracket-style tournament. Now, they're important, as I mentioned before, for rank, but also, if you get decently far into them, you get a really solid cash prize. And that's one of the things that makes them really good to do. You can still earn a little bit just by winning a few battles. If you don't win any, you won't get paid, unfortunately. But the farther you get, the more you get paid, and it's very good for earning money. Plus, I tend to just leave them on because they're just fun to do. Even while grinding, it's a good way to get a chance to really put your build to the test. Now that about does it for this beginner's guide. Of course, it assumes you kind of have the common sense of how the controls work, because I feel like that's the bare minimum. But also, lastly, why haven't I been uploading that often? School started. I'm just really busy. And it's just kind of tiring. I'll try to still get like one long-form video out a week. I feel like that's on minimum for shorts. I'm not really going to promise anything. But, like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye!